Continue tomorrow with partly sunny skies, high of 72 degrees. Then on Friday, there's just a slight chance of morning showers. Otherwise, it's going to be cloudy throughout the day with a high of 57 degrees. And we'll finally have a dry weekend. Is Saturday. It's going to be mostly sunny. High is going to be up to 57 degrees. And Sunday, sunny with a high of 61 degrees. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Frank Sparks, Beaver County Radio News, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and beavercountyradio.com.
This multimedia program is part of a balanced breakfast. You're listening to AM Beaver County on 95.7 FM, 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and 1460 WMBA. Also streaming live at beavercountyradio.com. All presented by St. Barnabas.
It's 8:35 on this Wednesday, October 5th. Outside is 43 degrees, and on your dial, it's Beaver County Radio. And I'm now joined in studio by Melanie Todorich, Cathy Skolnik, and Kevin Farkas. We're talking about an event this weekend, which the name itself may sound intriguing to most who have never experienced it. It is the New Galilee Pumpkinpalooza and Pig Lady Festival. So we'll get into what all that means, but first of all, good morning to the three of you.
Good morning.
And how many years has this been now for the New Galilee Pumpkin Festival? I know it's, festivals in New Galilee have sort of, they sort of had a period where they didn't quite happen as often, and now they're sort of coming back in style for, the last few years.
The Pumpkinpalooza family style, this is our second year going for it. It's being organized by the Little Beaver Lions Club and supported immensely by the New Galilee Community Center. We have been working at this now, like we said, with our second year in a row. And this year we are gifted and welcomed to have the Pig Lady Festival all on the same day. So it is, we're looking forward to doing this again this year.
So this is all in one day. It's all encapsulated in one day this year. So I know in last year there was sort of a mostly Saturday, a little bit into Sunday event, but this year it's going to be just all throughout one day.
Correct.
So what are some of the major parts to the Pumpkinpalooza?
The Pumpkinpalooza this year will be featuring an all-day-long costume contest. So anyone would like to come, please let all the kids wear their costumes. The registrations for pumpkin races will begin at 1 o'clock, starting with the first pumpkin race at 1:30, and it'll go roughly every half hour after that until we get down to third, second, first place runoffs. Those will go every 15 minutes. And then at the end of the evening at 5 o'clock, we're going to go Everything Goes run, where any pumpkins that have survived, you're welcome to put your pumpkin on, and we're going to let them roll. Hopefully we'll have about 60, 70 pumpkins coming down all at one time. And then following that, we're going to give awards and for both best costume, scariest costume, funny, so on and so forth. And for the races, we are having an obstacle course all day long going for the older kids. Younger kids will have many, many games. Cathy will talk more on the inside games. We will also have apple launching and pumpkin chunking, witch rides, scarecrow runs, and we'll just have a whole lot packed into a short amount of time.
Now, I know you mentioned that the costume contest is going on, and that's more of a usually a kid thing. But I imagine that the is it going to be just for the kids, the costume thing, or can adults dress them in costumes?
No, you're welcome to. You're welcome to. We're all. I'm looking. Right there you go. We're all looking forward to wearing something funny. I have several ideas for myself, and I'm hoping that the adults get into it also.
Well, you mentioned that there was another element to it that Cathy was going to talk about. Cathy, you want to go ahead and...
Sure. The foundation, we do every year, we do a Halloween party for the kids in our town. But so we have gotten quite good at games with the kids. So we're going to play some of those games in the outer buildings there. And we have a new for this year. We have Mummy Bowling, which I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's a surprise. We have Punch a Pumpkin, which is a giant pumpkin with tissue over top. And the kid punches their hand through and they get whatever prizes are in the cup. We have eyeball soup where you fish an eyeball out. We have a giant pumpkin with Tootsie Pops in it, and then you pick a Tootsie Pop, and whatever color is on the bottom coordinates to a prize. I don't want to spoil it all. So we have several others, but I really enjoy working with the kids, and I think we're going to have a really good time. And the games are absolutely free. They cost nothing, and the Lions Club was wonderful and donated a lot of money that I could buy prizes and candy. So I think that all kids are going to have a really good time. And this year especially, I know the cost for the Pumpkinpalooza is only $5, which makes it more family affordable, especially in this time of hardship. And we're just basically really fun people to hang out with. I'm just saying.
Yes. Not to mention, it's the time of year where you want to, start thinking about getting candy and, rolling pumpkins down the hill, which, if I'm not mistaken, the one hill to do that is going to be where it's going to be located behind the fire hall, correct?
Yeah, the good sled riding hill.
Yeah.
It is the killer hill in our town.
The killer hill. I like the sound of that. So that is the Pumpkinpalooza side of it. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about the Pig Lady Festival, and we'll have Kevin to talk a little bit more about that coming up after the break here on AM Beaver County.
Hey, it's Jimmy Fallon from Fox News, inviting you to tune into Beaver County Radio weekdays from noon to 3 p.m. for Fox Across America with me, Jimmy Fallon. It is the fastest growing radio show in the country, mainly because of my weight. But the point is, you tune into our show, you could be a Republican, you could be a Democrat, just don't be a jerk. Listen live on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. I'll see you there.
Tune in every Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. for another insightful edition of Living Well, a special segment on Beaver County Radio designed to help you enjoy the best, most fulfilling, and healthiest life possible. Hosted by Dr. Joseph Maroon and Jeff Boast, and presented by St. Barnabas. Living Well, Saturday mornings at 8:30. Right here on Beaver County Radio, WBVP Beaver Falls, WMBA Ambridge, along with 99.3 FM and 95.7 FM.
You don't have to have had an accident, suffered a sports injury, or undergone surgery to take advantage of the benefits of physical therapy from Dale Reckless at MRS Physical Therapy. At a recent live broadcast at MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater, Dale Reckless talked about treatment for the common foot pain condition, plantar fasciitis.
Plantar fasciitis is a pretty common thing, and I tell my patients, don't wait to come and get some treatment for it. The longer you wait, the more chronic it becomes, and we'll still fix it, it'll just take longer. If you come to see me when you're first getting the symptoms, then I can take care of it a lot quicker. What I do with plantar fasciitis is we give some stretches to do. I do a lot of hands-on exercise, and then I also do an evaluation of how they walk and how they stand. They need the hands-on work that I do to help cure the plantar fasciitis.
If you need physical therapy for any reason, choose the place that your friends and neighbors do. MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater and Cranberry Physical Therapy in Cranberry. Visit mrsphysicaltherapy.com.
Now entering our 75th year of serving Beaver County. You're listening to 99.3 FM, 95.7 FM, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Part of the St. Barnabas Radio Network.
And we're back here on this Wednesday morning edition of AM Beaver County at 8:43. We're talking about the New Galilee Pumpkinpalooza and Pig Lady Festival, and we'll switch now to the Pig Lady Festival part of the Pig Lady Festival as Kevin Farkas is joining us along with Melanie Todorich and Cathy Skolnik. Kevin, what is the Pig Lady Festival for those who may not remember what it is and what meaning it brings to the people of New Galilee?
Well, this is the scary part of the program. Well, we try not to be too scary. Every year at my house, I do a little thing on my porch, and I find out you could scare people too much, right? And it takes all the fun away from these fall festivals and so forth, and that's why people show up. So the Pig Lady Festival goes back many, many years, actually. The first version of it was held in Cannleton at a barn, and it was basically a fall festival, and it really took up this notion of the lore of Barbara Davidson, who was murdered in 1792 in Cannleton. Her head was cut off, never found the killer, right? So that unsolved mystery has manifested into the Pig Lady lore. sightings of a headless woman in Cannleton on the swimming bridge in Cannleton over the Little Beaver Creek and so forth. Many people have said that they have seen the headless lady as an apparition on various roads throughout the area and so forth. But this current version of the festival, this is our third year of this, and this is billed as a folklore festival of Beaver County. It's really our chance to sort of explore this notion of what folklore is and how these traditional beliefs and tales and stories of our lives, some of it is paranormal, some of it is not, how folklore is really a part of our lives. So that's what the festival does. Last year's theme was UFOs and space sightings. You know, the very famous UFO incident that happened through this area that we covered last year on our stage. So we have Tony Lavorna, who is a host of our Pig Lady Festival. He's a noted paranormal researcher and author, done some interesting work around Barbara Davidson's house. We were up there in a field in the middle of the winter, up there looking for signs of Barbara Davidson to speak from the dead, I guess. That was an interesting paranormal thing we did. But Tony is our host. He's going to retell the famous story of Barbara Davidson, the Pig Lady. And he's also going to start talking about our theme this year, which is witching in Western Pennsylvania. Now, I have to admit, I was confused about this as anybody. I thought witching was witchcraft, you know, like the dark arts, the demonic arts, and so forth. This is very different in terms of folklore. Witching is that stuff that we all know as, the dowsing rod, looking for water, or folk herbs and folk remedies, and, people who say, well, you can't apply this medicine unless you harvested this medicine on the sunny side of a hill by a person with a left hand. That's an example of this folk connection to witchery here. Amish hex signs on barns, that's a form of witchery. This witchery concept of folk medicine and folk incantations and so forth comes from the old world of Europe, from the Scots-Irish, the German immigrants. The appellation is permeated with witchery, right? So it's actually a very fascinating thing. We're going to get into that. Now, I have to give a little disclaimer. We're not promoting the black arts, right? Demonic, satanic worship and so forth. This is a different kind of witchcraft, with the term is specifically witchery. So this is our theme, and our second guest is going to be, our main guest, I should say, is Professor Thomas White, who's written extensively on folklore all throughout Western Pennsylvania and Pennsylvania at large. In fact, he wrote a book, Witches of Pennsylvania, and in that book, he's going to talk about the witch trial of 1683, and this was from William Penn, the governor, the founder of Pennsylvania. Swedish immigrants, two ladies, Swedish immigrants, accused of being a witch. He says, let's put them on trial, right? Well, the trial was actually a bust. They were just cited for disturbing the peace. But William Penn knew that this was really not about witchery. They were accused of being a witch, but this was really about immigration discrimination. And he this is documented. He put this trial on to reveal the nonsense, right, of these accusations of people being a witch. As a matter of fact, this was 8 years before the Salem witch trials. This is Pennsylvania's only witch trial to ever happen. Yeah, so it's kind of a fascinating thing. Thomas is going to explore that. I think Tony's going to talk about that a little bit. But there's an interesting connection to all this. It's a little convoluted, but it comes right back here to Beaver County. So William Penn was a Quaker. The Quakers were fierce defenders of human rights, universal human rights, including immigrant rights, right? So at this trial, he provided an interpreter. He allowed one of the women to represent herself, which was unheard of in British common law at the time. But he wanted to reveal this sort of anti-immigrant discrimination. The Quakers in 1688 produced something called the Germantown Proclamation. It was the first declaration against slavery by any religious body in the colonies. Fast forward all the way to here, the Quakers of New Brighton, who were part of the Underground Railroad, fierce abolitionist, William Penn Townsend, who was a namesake, right? He was a relative of William Penn. Yeah. Was a conductor on the Underground Railroad, as were many other Townsends. But they were Quakers. So we can trace this sense of universal rights all the way back to William Penn, and even to this witch trial, which at its heart was really about respecting in this case, the human rights of these two women being accused of witchcraft.
That
It's
is
fascinating history.
That is super fascinating. I'm very intrigued that, especially back in those days. I mean, I don't think you could get away with that now with just staging a trial just to prove a point. That would lead in many very terrible directions, or loopholes that could derail someone's theory. But that is very fascinating. And when you combine that with the festive nature of Pumpkinpalooza mixed with the historical elements of the Pig Lady Festival that you guys are going to be talking about, because like you said, you guys are not promoting the black arts, you're not promoting it. It's a historical context. It's a historical deep dive into the culture that made areas like Hamilton, like New Galilee, what they are today, and even Beaver County in the state of Pennsylvania. So that is fascinating, and it combines well to create this, very festive fall mix of old school history mixed with new school, well, kind of new school type of traditions like pumpkin rolling and everything. So when do because I know they talked about the parts of the Pumpkinpalooza they're going to start at that time. What time does the actual Pig Lady Festival and the telling of the tales begin?
So we're a little bit later in the evening. Tony Lavorna will take the stage at 7, and he'll be on the stage between 7 and 8. And then Thomas White will be up between 8 and 9. And we're relatively fluid on this. We're going to have a public Q&A, right? The audience will have a chance to weigh in on some of their notions of witchery in the area.
True.
And then at 9 o'clock, we have what is our community movie segment. And this is where we get into sort of darkness. So our movie is called Hex Hollow, Witchcraft and Murder in Pennsylvania. And this is a documentary film about the 1928 murder of a farmer and around these allegations of witchcraft associated with his murder. So this is kind of an interesting thing. But we will show this movie around 9 o'clock, and it's a pull up a chair, get your blanket, stay warm. It's going to be chilly this weekend. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So we'll have nice cozy fires that people can huddle around and watch the movie. My role in all this is to make sure that the stage works and the lights work and the microphones work. And we will also record this. And this is our 3rd year of recording these festivals for a podcast. And the podcast will be published on Tony Lavorna's Legends and Lore podcast, which is an interesting deep dive into the paranormal in this area. So people, if they can't miss it, they can listen to this on the podcast.
Very nice. Very nice. Again, this is all coming up this weekend. If people want to find out more details about Pumpkinpalooza or the Pig Lady Festival, how can they do so? And is there any need for people to help volunteer or lend their hands to the festival?
Well, if I could say, if someone wants more information, we have a page on thesocialvoiceproject.org.
Thesocialvoiceproject.org. Okay.
We have the festival pages on there where people can read about the activities, the agenda, about the storytellers, directions, and we also have a reading room on there where people can find out more about witchcraft. And then people can also follow us at Pig Lady Festival on Facebook.
Pig Lady Festival on Facebook.
One other thing I'd like to add is if anyone plans to come, we're going to have hay bales around. If you have allergies towards it, please bring your own chairs, seating area. That would be always welcomed. And you can spend the evening with us. We will have fire rings out in order for warmth, so it'll make the evening much more comfortable. And we're open for a very nice day and evening activities.
And that does add to the festive nature of it, just being able to sit on the hay bales and enjoy some tales of years gone by. But again, the volunteer element, or is there going to be need for help for the festival, or is that pretty much taken care of at this point?
There's always need for help. If anyone would like, I've been working with some ladies and with the folks from the community center in order to help get this all manned and staffed up. And I think we could always use a new hand because people are always interested in having fun for kids and fun for adults and so on and so forth. So we would always welcome help. Yes,
and when you combine having fun for kids with having fun for adults, I mean, it's a great time for everybody. And this is an event for everybody. So for families, yes. Exactly. Yep. And so for those who want to be a part of this, again, It takes place Saturday in New Galilee, and it won't be hard to find because it'll, if we're going to be rolling pumpkins, it'll be back behind the hill. So just sort of start there and work your way around. And again, it's a family event. We'll have links and full details coming up later today at beavercounty.com. Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about before we roll out of here?
One other thing about it, there will be a drone on site that will be videotaping throughout the course of the day and the evening. So make people aware that they will be videotaping. I would, if you want to look up anything more about the Pumpkinpalooza, you can go on the Little Beaver Lions Facebook page. The schedule of events should be there, and the layout of the whole planning should be there also.
Very, very nice. Very nice.
May I mention also about my blood drive, upcoming blood drive, Matt?
Yeah, very quickly you can do that. Yes.
Okay. At the Darlington Volunteer Fire Department, I was just sent out a notice by Vitalent, which was formerly known as Central Blood Bank, that due to Hurricane Ian, there is a huge blood shortage. The donation sites in Florida have been wiped out, and they do not know when they'll be up and running. So I am putting out a plea for anyone who would like to donate. In the United States, there are only 37% of the people who can actually donate, where only 10% of the people around that can donate actually donate. For every 1 pint of blood, 3 people are helped, and people are in need of blood. Every 2 seconds, someone is in need of blood. So if you would like to donate, I have an upcoming drive Monday, October 17th from 1 to 7 at the Darlington Volunteer Fire Department. If you'd like to call for an appointment, you can either call Vitalent at 412-209-7000, or you can call myself at 412-874-9254. And it is sponsored by the Little Beaver Lions Club in coherence with the Darlington Community Center.
Very, very good. We'll put links up to that as well. Melanie Todorich, Cathy, Skolnik, Kevin Farkas, thank you guys so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We
Thank
hope
you
to
for
see you
having
there.
us. Yeah.
We'll see you then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take a quick look around your home. Chances are you may find you have a collection of unwanted household